So I'm gonna calling the meeting to order. And the first item on the agenda is the approval of the last Monday's minutes.
In fairness, Mary hasn't had a chance to read them because I forgot to attach them. And I also have made one correction already. There's an extra space in November. But in fairness to Mary, I forgot to attach them, so she hadn't had a chance to read them yet. So I don't know.
Except they've always been perfect, so I'm good with them.
Okay, I made one correction. There's a space in November that has been corrected.
Then I need a motion to accept the minutes there. Second.
That you learned?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Need a second. I got
Somebody
Karen.
in there.
Okay, all right. I have a correction to be made.
Oh, good.
It says that we adjourned at 6:45. I believe that's incorrect. 5:45. Because we had to be out of here because of the planning board
As amended.
as amended. Any other
As amended.
corrections? So the motion to accept the minutes as amended, all in favor? Jenny, you in favor?
I'm not a voting member.
That's right, I'm sorry.
I'm not
Yeah.
extra.
Yeah,
Someone's not here.
Well, we're assuming these guys are gonna walk in and.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, right, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Andy has given us a list of the line items that we need to which we need to make recommendations. The Board of Selectmen has already provided their recommendation for all of them. I'd like to propose that we just take them in the order in which they're listed here. There's no thing. Okay. So the first item for consideration is the item, the solid waste. The Board of Selectmen have recommended $211,950. Is there a motion?
I move we accept the 200.
Second. All right, Bruce has accepted that. Larry has seconded it. Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
I guess I'm voting.
And Sherry? Yes, okay. Passes.
So I'm just using 6, right? We're not gonna go to alternates. We're gonna use 6 votes for now.
Yeah, I don't need the, well,
Okay.
that's.
So here, let them vote.
What's Howard gonna do?
Okay, let's look.
I think so.
Okay.
I just want, well, one way or the other. Cause 2 people aren't here, so 2 people could vote in their place.
Okay, so we'll do it.
And that's my error, really, yeah, should, once adjourned. So,
Alternates can vote.
A motion to allow the alternates to vote. Is there a motion?
Yeah, until the new people till the other people get in.
Seconded?
we have a motion and a second to allow the alternates to vote. All in favor?
That could be 6.
And that passes, and my apologies, ladies.
Okay, that's all right.
That's absolutely right.
I didn't realize you were.
Yeah, okay.
Cause I'm so mouthy.
If I may, the solid waste item would have passed anyway. Yes, so I'll continue if I may. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. The next item is the contingency line. I'm gonna make a motion that we recommend $13,000.
Rather than 20,000.
What is your, oh, we can discuss
I'll
it
second.
afterwards. Okay,
We have a second, okay.
what is your
Um,
rationale?
that is much closer to the average over the last 4 years of what we've actually spent versus 20,000, on top of which the contingency is intended to be there in a quote emergency, end quote, if something has to be spent and it's not been budgeted and
Okay,
versus calling special town meeting to vote for that particular item. So that's my reasoning.
I would make a motion on that,
Well,
on 13. Is that what you're asking for now?
I've got the
Motion.
motion, and that would be a second. If
That'd be a
that's
second.
you.
I'd second that.
Okay.
Susan already seconded.
I already
You were already in your
Oh, that's
discussion.
right. Done. Okay.
Okay, and you can vote, I'll stay back.
Any other questions or concerns? Then all in favor of that motion for $13,000? And you can vote.
No, she's voting for,
Alright.
I'm not voting.
We have
And,
That's unanimous.
yeah. Yeah. And not in favor? I got none, okay. And Connie has joined us. So Connie gets a check mark right over there. Okay. Okay. Next item is the legal line. Again, I'm going to make a motion for $16,000, pretty much on the same basis.
Almost second that.
That's seconded by
You
Bruce.
said 16 or 15?
16,16,003. Okay.
You need
that
second on that?
Yes.
I do have a question about that one.
Okay,
As we're doing the reassessments, and Andy, I don't know, will the assessments be being done in a timeframe during next year where we might have to deal with any appeals to people's home assessments? Or will that happen the following year?
Going to clarify, revaluation process is forthcoming, and that this coming fiscal year is not one that we see attorney fees really related to unless they fail to perform to the contract.
Okay.
Even
I was
at
thinking more about homeowners appealing the evaluation of their homes. But if that's not the case, then I am good with the recommendation that has been put forth.
I'm also, if I may, I'm also functioning, I've always been I've always been in favor of this line of having that available to us. I'm functioning on the basis of want versus need. Hopefully we don't need it. If we need it, we can come to the townspeople and obtain the money. Any other questions or concerns?
I have if I can make a general concern.
Sure do, please.
About the map, you can see in the last couple of years, we've exceeded $20,000, and of course, none of us want to try and spend this line if we can avoid it at all costs. But just in terms of figuring the average, I'm just curious, does that map the 16,000 with 2 years over 20, one at 13? Maybe it doesn't, didn't do it.
Your year to date is 28.5 right now,
Yeah.
but I mean, and we're almost.
I think since we printed that, there's been 2 more months of billing, and so another
Okay.
roughly $4,000, I believe.
What's driving the legal costs?
Yeah.
Go.
Gonna add
I
that.
mean, most of it's small this year. The last couple of years, we had 1 year where we had a pretty significant set of mediations for multiple contracts. Contract reviews, we got one right now that the attorney's getting ready to review some easement language for drainage work we have to do and culvert crossing out here. I mean, nothing one big thing, it's usually just a bunch of little things. We try and use MMA as much as possible. But a lot of times they'll let us know pretty quickly that we are too specific and need to refer to our attorney. But that is a resource we do utilize on top of this.
You're saying that how much has been spent this year?
When it was printed 2,850. We're probably another $3 to $4,000 more on top of that since this was printed. So we get billed monthly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we're more than halfway through the fiscal year, so I think that probably will come in under the budget amount.
For this year.
So I think the 16 is a reasonable guesstimate if we're trying to make an effort to reduce the total budget.
Yeah, what are we, 7, 8 months into the year? Into the fiscal year? So 2,850, that's only $400 a month, a little less.
Yeah, we're 8.5 months in.
That was again through December.
This is through December.
All the year to dates are through December.
And I was, when running some math through my head, I was functioning on that basis. Just because it was easy. 6 months through.
Well, even at 16K, if you're on the same track as you are this year, you still got plenty of money there.
My feeling. Questions or concerns further? Then all in favor of the motion for $16,000?
We're on the legal for the folks that just came in.
Don't need to vote
Legal.
now. Lazy.
On the legal? Yes.
Well, I don't think I don't need to vote now.
We just clarify, you would be 9 if you do want to keep voting. You got 3
Okay.
online, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So
Okay.
there's still
yeah.
one more person to vote.
Yeah, so we're still
I can't
okay.
keep track of everything.
Still okay, thank you. I'm trying, I've got a little checklist here.
So now we're moving on to animal
So-
control.
All right, so do I need to see that again? All in favor? All right, 1, 2, 3 on line 5, 6, 8, okay. All right, so that passes. Next item is animal control.
Oh, I'm not. Gotta skip
The
down.
selectmen have recommended $11,055. I believe that's.
What the selectors recommended, and zero.
All these acronyms, I swear, run it down.
ACO, I think.
Oh,
Oh, ACO.
No.
Thank you.
Folks want more detail. It starts on page 84 of 108 in your budget book. Hopefully it's at 108. Is your 108 or that updated?
Wait,
Is Susan concerned about the numbers there?
The animal control,
Right.
I'd like to make,
And it's a contract,
that's a contract.
right, Andy?
With the sheriff's office?
Correct.
They send out like a sheriff, or do they have?
No,
ACO?
they, a couple of years ago, rather than each and every town finding and hiring and training their own ACO. A proposal was made and, the county took that over, to have one person available to, the town.
Yeah, I think
Towns
they're,
that agreed.
I think they're 1.5 right now. It's not all the towns, but there's probably 7 or 8 that share in that cost.
So we pay for the hours billed.
Correct. Yeah, incidental
Did you
cost.
say 108?
I would like to make a motion before we cut that to 7,500 there. That would be more in line with what we paid right up until this year's request.
Okay, Larry has made a motion for 7,500.
But you know what-
I
what
second
they're-
it.
Who was that, Mary?
Mhm.
Mary seconded it, okay, now, sorry,
That's the total animal control.
There's one more.
Contract, that's the shelter contract and the ACO contract. That's 7,500,
that's all
Yes.
together.
so that's 3629 and 3636. Are those costs grouped together on your budget
Yes.
line?
Yeah, animal control, Department 9, if you will, is made up of 2 line items.
Okay,
The shelter contract, which we have to have a place in the contract to, for the ACO to take the animals, if branded, I guess. And then the contract for ACO services by law, we have to provide ACO services. If the board fails to appoint an ACO, I believe that's one of the ones that the select board takes on that responsibility.
I think that I agree with Larry that it should go based on the history of what we've been spending. It seems like a pretty big leap to go to the $11,055. And I think just doing a little bit of an increase, would be more in line on what we're trying to do with this
If
budget.
if I could provide some context, I'd love the opportunity.
Sure.
only if this board feels you need it.
I'd welcome them to offer.
Yes.
Instead of, respectfully, instead of looking at where we've been, this cost is increasing to us, explained it during the select board meeting and such, or maybe in the presentations and such that, this particular fiscal year, they're much more, on top of their billing, just to put it We have, we will be exceeding this year's budgeted amount.
I just see we're pretty close to the 5 there.
I want to withdraw my comment because I just realized that I looked at the year to date thinking it was a full year expense. And so, yes, I am now back on the 11,000. I do remember that. Andy, you explaining this.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we don't have to spend all $7,500, but I mean, we get to the point, middle of the year, by all means, we certainly could come every time, every month or whatever frequency we need to the voters, if we need more money for this, more money for this. But we're also here to try and, to the best of our knowledge, fairly identify what the 12-month costs are gonna be. I do not feel.
Well, that's a
that going
50%
to-
increase almost, Anthony.
I understand.
Yeah.
I do not think it'd be prudent to go with that number that was just proposed.
No, I missed it on my scrolling because I don't have the banner.
Shelter for this year, right? Is that what I'm saying? Oh, no, yeah.
Well, we would have, yeah. I mean, don't forget the year-to-dates are as of December.
Right.
Yeah, the shelter contract comes once a year, that's paid. The ACO contract comes monthly as a bill to us from the county for the services. that are provided.
So the reality is really closer to the 11,000.
Mhm.
The reality of expenses is closer to 11.
It looks
I
like
think
it's
it-
going to be 14,258.
We haven't seen that full amount at any point yet, but I think that's where it's trending. They're running about 10 to 12 hours a month on average from what I've seen from the most recent reports we've had. They haven't had this level of detail. They've had a change in the primary ACO, so it's becoming a little more thorough.
And it's just dogs, right?
All domesticated animals,
Could
really.
be goats, cows.
I mean,
Animal control laws are there to regulate the primarily domesticated animals.
I know, but
Pigs.
there's really that much problem with domesticated animals.
Sounds
I find it really
like it, I mean, when you.
We don't have a lot of livestock in this community. We have dogs, maybe, yes, but we don't have a lot of cows, few chickens, few pigs, maybe,
Goats,
but
rabbits.
horses, not very many of them. Why does it cost us $1,000 a month for animal control?
Yeah, that's
I
kind
mean,
of.
who's calling is it just a resident calling, does a dog barking?
It could be, yeah, we have an ordinance locally for a barking dog ordinance. People need to.
So they call animal control for that? They don't just call the police department?
That's the responsibility of the animal control officer, yeah. Our officer sometimes will take on certain calls, but when it comes to capturing and handling animals, there needs to be training and such to do that.
Well, I mean,
And we
that's different than just barking dog. I just find it crazy that we're spending that much money on it.
I think this would be like one of those scenarios where, the question could be, are there alternatives that we could consider and other ways to limit that cost if we're concerned about the cost of the contract to enforce the state law? Again, this is another one of these things the state obligates towns to manage and be able to respond. So we just need to understand, and unfortunately, we're at a point where the call demands in the last few years haven't been properly, I'd say, documented and billed to our benefit. But we now are seeing, what appears to be a doubling of the cost, which doesn't feel great, but it is a law that we do have to have resources providing.
You've seen these call logs, per month, what they're
Yeah.
actually doing or where they're going. I
I
mean,
think sorry.
it's real stuff.
Here, I think I put a copy of it. Thought I put a copy of it, it's like a question dog.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, you're right, there was.
most of it's like gophers and,
That's what it is.
Porcupines
groundhogs
in our yard.
what?
Porcupines.
Porcupines. I mean, that,
And we don't
Gun-
call animal
you know what I
control
mean?
for that. we
and
take
that doesn't
care of
count.
ourselves.
It's domestic.
Yeah.
All right,
Call
I'm gonna
them
go-
and Skunky, you doing it. Call them, see
Hard to
what
get
happens.
online.
I did that.
Yeah,
It's your problem. They don't do that.
Again, that's outlined in state law, state statute as to what the ACO and towns are responsible to provide a service for what. And so there is certain animals that they aren't generally, if it has potential for rabies, I think they do sometimes get involved in that.
Raccoons.
No,
But they don't handle all wild animals.
they don't do wild animals.
Yeah, they just do domesticated animals. Yeah. Dogs,
Raccoons,
cats.
They're promoting raccoons as the next pet.
So folks would like, I can pull up they had provided me a report for the 2025.
So
I
is
will-
there a possibility to do a revenue stream here to help offset this cost, so we still have the expense. But maybe we fine owners if somebody has to respond, 2 or 3 times to the same issue. I mean, I think it's something that maybe we could propose the select board look at as an offset, but because we're not going to be able to do that here. But is there any law that precludes us from doing that?
So in this report, it mainly,
Yeah.
it seems like dogs at large
Before we go to
is the visitations,
Mhm.
number of visitations.
Which we have a leash law in
Yes,
this
yes.
state anyway.
I know we wanted Mary's question to be answered before we went on to another question.
So these are the different,
They happen.
Yeah, I'm not
So-
quite sure where Mary's question ended in the
I'm
conversation.
sorry, so
Yeah.
the I know we charge dog owners a fee for registration every year, right?
Yes, dictated and set by the state. We do this on behalf of the state. The state will ought to register your dogs.
Where does the money
We don't-
go?
We can't charge.
We keep the agent fees and the majority of the dog licensing fee, which if you do it on time, I think it's $6.
it's $6.
So it's not like we're getting a lot from it. If you're late, there's a $25 late fee, and I think it's all of that state here.
All motions
Yeah,
there.
well, the late fee goes to the state?
Mm-hmm.
I thought we kept most of that.
Oh, you're right, yeah, it's almost 50-50.
Yeah, agent
Kind of.
fees are like $2 or $3
Yeah.
or maybe 5. So again, a lot of that's set by the state, we don't have a lot of flexibility in changing those registration fees unless you wanna add another ordinance component to it, if it's legal anyways, to put another on there. If you wanna register cats and other domesticated animals, for example, we could look into see if that's a possibility.
I like Mary's idea of
Fining
fining.
people, putting a fine on?
If people knew that it was gonna cost them $100 every time they call for a dog complaint, they might think twice about it.
Well.
I
mean,
was
it's not
thinking
gonna
more of the neighbor.
penalize those people. It's gonna penalize the dog, the owner.
That's what I'm saying.
Right,
Yeah, not
but they're not gonna be the ones calling,
Yeah, what was that, Mary?
don't think.
I think Connie said it. I was thinking more that we find the owner if there are 3 like dog at large complaints against your animal, then you get a fine. Like, control your animal. Yeah, because I don't want it to become one of those, like, you have a neighbor who gets mad every time a dog barks at all. But there might be some that the owner could control. Like, an owner can't control if their dog barks while they're not home. But they can control if the dog is unleashed.
The town ordinance about barking dog makes room for that. If I recall, the specifics of the ordinance is that if a dog barks consistently for beyond a certain length of time, and I don't remember what the time is, it's in the ordinance. All right, then it becomes a violation. Or if the dog barks for consistently for X amount of time for 3 or more occasions in the day, it's specific. Dogs bark. All right, so it's not about a dog barking. It doesn't preclude a dog warning you that somebody's sneaking up to your back door. All right, it's that a dog barking consistently enough.
20
to
minutes. I have it. I pulled it
become-
up. One of the benefits of being
Oh, okay.
online.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it involves somebody going and speaking to the owner about it.
We do have, so Dick, it does say any person found violating this provision shall be subject to a fine of not less than 25 and not more than 100 for each offense. Are we collecting?
Is there okay.
Yes, we
I
have
kinda
it.
thought it was-
Right, we do have fines written in here, so I would,
It's been a
like
very,
to-
very long time.
yeah, so why don't we say, we'll
Andy,
take,
are we in fact being made aware when the police have to respond to that ordinance and are we collecting?
I'll have to ask the county, based on the number of violations they've noted here for 2025, if they had any fines or fees levied against those folks.
So
would
I
be-
noticed, okay, sorry, Mary,
go ahead.
on the list of violations, there's it's, each violation has a number of complaints, a number of violations or visits?
Yeah.
No violation.
Violations.
So we've had 26 violations at $100 a piece. That's $2,600.
Well, I just think the number of complaints is, there's a lot of complaints, but not a whole lot of violations.
Right.
And so we're spending a lot of money for people making a phone call, basically. And, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well, does it say barking dog on this?
Yeah, if you
Are people
scroll down,
actually?
it's at the top of
Okay.
the list. Most of them are at the bottom, dog at large. They don't really have barking dog, but I thought that might be the number of complaints.
It
Number
doesn't,
of
yeah, I
complaints
mean, I
doesn't
wouldn't think
necessarily
people would
mean
be
the number of
home.
crimes.
You know,
Yeah,
control.
The number of violations, it's only, it's basically everything is 25, there's 26 total, I think, complaint, violations. Most of them are dog at large violations. I mean, I think this is weird.
And they do wildlife.
No, they get the phone call, wildlife related call, and what they're saying is, no, we don't deal with that.
So they're gonna charge us for that phone call?
Yeah, $30 or an hour, 2 hours to take your 2-minute call. I mean, I say, reduce it.
Let's say $10,000.
I don't agree with reducing what we're paying because we're going to have to pay for those calls. I would rather see us build the offset to the expense so that the overall budget doesn't have as big a impact.
Andy, do you let the county know every year how much money you got for dog compliant, or for, what do you call it, animal control?
We have to work, essentially the way it's written, we have to stay in touch to stay within the budget.
So if they knew they had a budget of $7,500, they might pick and choose what they go out to.
Well, they're not going out to much, it's not necessary.
No,
No.
for what they're going for, it's costing a lot of money.
So I think this is a good example where it comes back to service level and cost, right? You've got a state statute that says these are the things that the towns must enforce. State
Right,
law,
well-
state law foundation must enforce. We have a local ordinance that says in addition to that, it might, I don't know, I haven't compared the two to see where it goes beyond. A lot of times they get duplicated, but if our ordinance goes above and beyond what the state statute minimums are for responding to certain things, that's another level that we put on. So I'd just be mindful of, we would be potentially cutting off the ability to provide both ordinance and state required services without an alternative other than having the select board do that as the statute would suggest.
Level of service. This is our level of service.
We're basically paying them to be on call.
So are
We
people
pay for
calling
them.
911?
If I can answer Leah's question
Okay.
first on that one, we pay them for the calls they provide to us.
We don't provide for them to be available.
The billed hours is all we get charged for, and wherever they provide to us, we got the time, there's a minimum in the contract, it's a half hour. We pay for the transport time from wherever they're coming from, mileage reimbursement. The three primary.
So they have a county car, why are we paying them mileage?
We have to pay for, this is not a service, this is again another statutorily driven thing. Our county did not provide animal control officer services before 1970 or whatever. There was a trigger date within the statute when a county service is created. After that date, those towns requiring, contracting it are to cover that cost. So it's another one driven that way. We do the same thing with shellfish management. We contract with the sheriff's department, West Drone Service and Program to be able to do, along with other towns, the shellfish management as well. Your statement or question, I forget.
When people call this, are they calling the 911? Or are they calling the town office and the town office is saying, you have a barking dog, you have to call this number?
With all like those types of calls go through dispatch, and so Lincoln County Sheriff, whether it's 911 or the non-emergency number, it goes to the dispatch because Lincoln County Sheriff is the agency in which is responding to those.
But do you think regular people call 911 because a dog is barking?
No, I think they might go to our website, we list the numbers there.
Right.
Imagine it's 911, that being said, if a dog's latched onto your kid's leg, you're probably gonna call 911.
Yeah, it depends on the
It might just depend on the situation, probably mostly it's the non-emergency dispatch.
Okay, Sherry has had her hand up for a while.
It's very small on this screen over here. Sorry, Sherry.
I'm not in a hurry. I'm actually cuddling with the doggies, so I'm not suffering. Okay, I just noticed, I think the number of complaints, the word complaints is very subjective. And I like the fact the violations don't necessarily match up to complaints, because especially like dogs barking, and the fact that somebody registers a complaint is not a given that it ends up being a violation.
I'm not as concerned about the violation to complaint number. I do think they might want to ticket more than they do, but that's a personal thing. Mine is, if they are issuing the violations, we should be getting money for it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So would they collect it for us? Or
No,
would
we
the
would have
town?
to collect it. But we could attach it to, when you go to register your pet, if you have a violation, you have to, pay the violation before you can register your pet again.
Yeah.
If the state allows us to do so, yes.
So, yeah, given that, that would be something we would have to check. But I would like to move the question on approval of the $11,055.
Because remember,
Well, I have a motion on the floor for $7,500. And if you're following the motion,
She withdrew
She
that
withdrew
motion.
that.
She withdrew the 755.
But it wasn't my motion. It was Larry's motion. I withdrew my second.
He withdrew
Right,
his
she
second.
withdrew the second, which means the motion fails right there. If she withdrew the second.
But somebody else could second it.
so Larry, your motion still stands, $7,500.
Yeah, my whole thought of this, if we don't look at everything and start cutting a little bit, we're gonna have a budget, we're just rubber stamping.
Yeah.
And we're 50% higher, so why not go with 7,500 if it goes more? And let the county know that you gotta start issuing violations to offset these costs.
I'm gonna try to do this within procedure, okay? With Mary having withdrawn her second, is there a second for Larry's motion for $7,500?
Second.
Leah seconded it.
Where'd that come from?
Leah seconded it.
Oh, over here. I'm sorry, I'm trying so hard what's up there? I can't,
Sorry.
can we get that back to?
Sorry, yeah.
There, okay. All right, so it has been seconded.
Yep.
All right, and I'm going to call the motion. Okay, all in favor of the motion for $7,500? I've got two.
Three, Karen has her hand up, right? Karen has her hand up.
Karen had her hand up?
Yep.
Okay.
And Shari?
3, and Shari is 4, and opposed. 4, 5. And, okay. No. And are you voting today?
Didn't you tell me only one of us can vote right now?
I don't know how many.
Yes.
So she's voting.
Okay. That motion fails. Okay.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the $11,055.
Bruce had his hand up.
Nothing.
Bruce,
I wanted to amend, but I'll just say that I think 75 is too low, but 11,000 is too high. I was gonna move 9,000.
How much?
9,000. I think.
All right, Bruce has moved $9,000. Is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Larry has seconded it. All right, further questions and discussion? All in favor of the motion for $9,000? 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and
Six.
opposed.
6.
Opposed.
I got 6 with
Yep.
6, oh, okay.
Karen's hand is like right where
Yeah.
the wall is.
Wow. Karen, hi, wave your hand
I voted
sometimes.
I voted for 9,000.
So that passes,
9,000 passed.
9,000 passes.
Okay. So what happens when the reality is that the real cost is 11,000? Do you really
Well,
want, you really wanna have the town go,
Well, then we go to the contingency fee.
That you just.
That you just reduced.
Yeah, remember that contingency fee that I got?
All right. I'm gonna, okay, since we moved to that question, we go on to the next item.
Yeah. Next item is the fire department. And I'm gonna move $184,000 even.
And
I ask the
why are
reason?
you,
And why is that?
Second,
That's part of discussion. I'll
There-
second
there-
that.
Yeah, there are three areas, or well, there are 2 areas where the current number proposed, about like, it's a whole bunch of small equipment, and if you want, I can give you the line numbers and the pages.
No, I just.
That the amount proposed notably, is beyond the average for the last 4 years. Okay,
Can I ask for those line numbers from the fire chief asked, I can relay it to.
absolutely. Line 61-14
on what page?
on page 85.
No. Try a different number.
Can you say that number again, please? Line number.
I've got 2114
Or 2114.
was 3,200. Right, is 3,200. I'm considering 2,500.
Because
That's much closer to what has been actually spent on that line over the last 4 years.
I'm sorry, Dick, could you say the line item again?
Sure, 2114.
General equipment.
general equipment.
Okay,
Okay. Also, line 6253 on page 88.
You said 184 even, Dick?
Pardon me?
Did you say 184 even?
Yes.
Yes. 62/53 on page 88. I'm thinking $1,000 instead of $2,000 again, because it seems to me that's closer. Much more about the average for the last 4 years. And the last one may not be terribly popular, but again, it's a case of want versus need. Line 9, and I'll do it again, 90-85 on page 90. For the fireman's supper, requesting $1,000, I'm thinking 0. I love them. I want them to have it. Not why I'm here.
What's the,
Which one?
oh, there it is,
Which-
9085.
9085. What did you say about supper?
Fireman's supper.
And that won't make me popular, but that's,
Where is that?
How do you know that's supper?
It's on page 90.
9085 on page 90.
On page 80.
I'm looking at 9085.
Oh, I see at the top.
Very
I
tall.
like somewhere. Wow.
did I miss the,
I'm not seeing.
Nope.
supper.
line?
Page 90, second line down from the top, 9085 fireman's annual supper.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was
Really
really,
annoys me.
oh, I'm sorry. Just looking at the page.
Did it go
I'm
out?
looking at 90.
It's in-house, they hire someone to come in and do it, In the last few years, my understanding is they've exceeded the $800, the association's been able to assist in.
I love it.
Without coming to the voters.
I'll go and help, I'll go and help
I
you, sir.
like the little did it once. No, what it smells like I did it.
That's more than the part, just to.
When I put all that together, it brings me down to $184,000.
You know,
Can we talk about this yet, Dick? I
That's,
don't know when we're supposed to talk about anything.
that's a motion. Is there a second for it?
Thought there was a second.
Yeah, I second.
Okay.
That would have been discussion.
Susan, is a second.
I don't have any problem with the cuts. My only question is the fire department where fuel has taken a dramatic hike in the last 5, 6, 7 days. I mean, it's about $1.40 or $1.50 a gallon in diesel fuel. They use a lot of diesel fuel. Maybe Andy can answer this, or maybe it's a John Roberts question. There he is right there. Answer it, you please. Is the fire department, how much are they gonna be? I'm sure they haven't budgeted $5 a gallon diesel fuel in their budget. What do they do in that case, Andy, when they have big fuel spot? You haven't been.
We'll have to come back to the voters during the year to,
Okay.
if we don't have contingency available, we'll have to come back to the voters to expend the money.
Yeah.
So it'll be after the fact, of course, which is against state statute unless we're
Okay.
able to watch it close.
Do the selectmen have a vote on whether or not to shift from the contingency into something like that?
We would just book it against the contingency. That's how it was they do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
So $4,400 is what we have in there for department vehicle fuel.
Fuel, right.
The last couple of years, we're at 48.92, 35.31, 54.38. We budgeted 4,100 this year. Through December, we were at 2,020. They were asking for an increase of $300 from this year to 4,400.
Yeah. So that could be, $300 could be one fill at a top 50 a gallon more. But I'm okay with that.
Did we vote on the dinner?
No,
We're not voting on individual line items. We're only voting on the overall.
That's correct. I just to be right, and if one of you asked for a lower number, I would ask that same question. What's your thought process? That's my thought process, right? They could take the lower number from wherever it is seen fit.
that's the question I have, is when
Yeah.
we recommend a lower number, they could decide to buy one less training manual and then have the
The
dinner.
line item on which we're allowed to vote is the one that the selectmen have recommended, $186,705, and for which I have recommended 184. It is only that bottom line
And then this would come up at the town meeting, and we would go through
that
this.
somebody might want to say why.
And then
And
maybe they might say, oh, shit, him.
if I choose to show up.
You'll be
Yeah.
there.
I'm hoping somebody's there to protect me, but, okay. Yeah, but our recommendations here are this evening are for the bottom line of each of those items.
I'd like to comment on the
Please.
supper. I appreciate the desire to cut that out, but our fire volunteers don't get paid. And
Well, they do, but
Well,
terribly low,
minimal,
terribly
minimal.
poorly, yeah.
Right, they're essentially volunteer. I mean, we do health coverage, but I don't know, $1,000 to me is a minimal, a token appreciation for what they do, so
I agree.
and I know we're looking for every place to cut, which we should be. And wants versus needs, but. You know. Morale is really important, and gratitude and appreciation for what people do is important. So I'm reluctant to cut that.
Well,
For the exact same reasons, I am also reluctant to cut.
Yeah, that's true. We're not cutting that.
we're
line.
not actually
Reality.
saying we're cutting that.
No, he just
So
said
if-
where he found it.
Right, and so.
They can still have their supper.
They can still have it if they find $1,000 somewhere else.
I mean, it's less than it's what, 1% of the budget, 1.5% of the budget of that total budget,
We're not,
that $1,000.
We're not voting on the sub. Voting on the.
Yeah, and I agree, although I pointedly, when I went through this to decide what I wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
did not think of their drawing from the fuel line, for instance, reducing the, okay? But they've got a budget to spend on and a whole bunch of this is our way, and if the people agree at the town meeting, which they may not,
They will.
right? So, you know, but I feel I couldn't just throw out a lower number without a rationale, and I am opposed to a blanket percentage cut. Because I don't think that works, so I've been specific.
I am still
Is that good?
reluctant to cut the fire department because I think, building on Connie's comments, if we don't maintain some morale among us, our volunteers, and we would get pushed into then a hired fire department, it would absolutely blow our budget. And so having a volunteer department is much more cost efficient than having to buy one, as we see with the police department. So I continue to be reluctant to cut anything. I think this is probably one of our best bangs for the buck that we get in our entire budget.
Yeah, and if John came in here today and asked for a pay raise per hour,
He'd get it.
I would vote for it, absolutely. And in the past, this committee has occasionally even objected to his not asking for more money.
Yeah.
Okay? But yeah, however, if somebody wants to look at that budget and look for where can we cut, those were really only the three places I found that I felt we could cut without hindering their ability to perform.
Because some of it is wants and not needs.
Yeah.
You gotta ask in almost a $200,000 budget, how much in there is absolutely desperately needed to function, and how much is I'd like to have.
Yeah,
And
and
we're
to
only
me-
asking them to take a 1 3/4% cut, overall cut in that budget. That's not exaggerated, but that's not.
John always makes a good case for the things that when he
Sure
asks for. And not being a fireman, I'm not in a position to say, no, you don't need that much money for self-contained breathing apparatus. I'm not gonna do that. But when I look through it line by line, looking to see was there in fact any place where we could try to trim, those are the only three places I found that I agree in good conscience. Yeah, and maybe that's not even the right phrase either. Try
Tough
to trim.
decisions.
And hard
I
to
called
say
the
out loud.
question.
I'm
Wait for a vote.
gonna call for the vote, Mary.
I did. I
Okay.
called for the vote.
Yeah, but calling the motion, the motion is that we recommend $184,000. All in favor? 4, 5, I have 5,
Is Sherry's hand up or down?
Up.
up. Alright, so I count 5. Oh, so assuming that that's 4 against, the motion passes. And I'll sleep dressed tonight in the event that I didn't get up.
It's when you have to defend it in public at the town meeting.
I feel cold coming on.
There are other ways.
We get your back, Dick. Don't worry. We get your back.
People would donate to
I would
something like
totally,
that.
Salvage Trading, which is located in Newcastle, would donate money to the Damariscotta.
Yeah.
So they could have, I'll help cook.
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah, I'm a cook, actually, you know, yeah,
Not me, I'll do
let's,
dishes.
I'll help them figure it out, so they have the
Yeah.
most amazing
And they don't have
dinner
to,
ever.
as said, they don't have to take it from them. It could be cumulative pennies on each of the line. I don't know. That's for them to decide. Next item on the list is emergency management.
I move we do $3,040.
A second. We have a motion for $3,040, seconded by Mary, seconded by Larry. Questions or concerns? Okay, all in favor of that number?
Where are you voting?
And it looks like, yeah, it looks like it passes unanimously.
Okay.
Next item, the hydrants.
Again.
Recommendation, and in fact, the bill that we get is $246,205. Need a motion?
We don't have any choice in that motion, do we?
Really? We're gonna get the bill anyway.
Yeah.
If I could,
But
well, I don't know if you gotta want to second it so you can have a discussion or not, but I can encourage. Untethered. I don't know if you still need a second for a discussion, but I can offer.
Well, that wasn't even a motion.
Oh, sorry.
I'll move we adopted
Okay,
the 200.
the 246, 205.
Yeah.
All right, is there a second for that before we go into discussion?
I'll second.
Second.
Second, Susan beat you to it. Okay, Andy.
This is one, they run on a, calendar year, fiscal year.
Mhm.
So we know what the 2026 calendar year, amounts are gonna be. We don't know what the 2027 calendar year amounts are gonna be. I'm anticipating a potential, increase of up to 5% to be able to cover the cost of the hydrants, which are in, and we're obligated to pay the fee of. But just wanted to clarify that the 246 isn't necessarily the number.
It's in.
Oh,
It's
it
in.
could be both.
It could be more, it could be less.
Oh, so it's in anticipation.
Yeah. Yeah, so I take half the year and put 5% more on figuring out what half of the year at 5% would be.
And aren't they obligated to keep the hydrants shoveled out for that $246,000 a year?
I'd have to ask.
Because I can tell you on the back, all those new ones, they have not shoveled out
There's
this
a
year.
lot that are not shoveled.
We've had plenty of snow.
Neither on Bristol Road or West.
Mary, did you have something?
I did. Andy, could you please remind us of what happens when we approve a line item and we don't actually spend it? What happens with that extra money?
It goes to the undesignated fund balance.
Okay. And that money gets used to offset, like, if we don't fund the lawyers.
It may, it generally does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so
in
people know
theory-
that there are other places where it tends to get some contingency or, unallocated monies.
Unspent, in theory, we get it back.
Where, did we have any last year?
Fund balance, unspent funds?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, every year.
like a lot.
So and where does it go?
I mean, all I have is the unaudited version right now, but,
The unspent
budgeted
fund
there.
balance.
Off the top of my head, I don't have it.
Okay.
It's the amount of money that is.
I had asked
in this.
about that.
That is
in one
back
of the
with the new
questions.
contract.
Right
We
now,
have to send
but
them.
in there is 2.1 million or something
Okay.
from the
Let's say
audit
we
from
send
3 years ago.
$40,000.
Is that it? Andy?
Then that's $6,000.
Somewhere in that ballpark, I got into that budget questions
Taxes.
Right,
Stays in that. That's how.
Stays in
but that's from 3 years ago.
Fiscal year 23 was the last one that's been completed.
And then at the end of the year, they can use that. to
And no fault
reduce
to staffs.
their whole-
So has it been
Right,
drawn
right.
from since?
reduce
Every year it gets drawn from about $150,000.
Does that?
So we have millions of, we still have a lot of money in there.
You do, and there's a recommendation by the auditors for a certain amount to carry in there for cash flow purposes and nothing else.
We're supposed to have this for 6 months.
3.
Yeah, so that.
And what is 3 months worth of our budget? Do you know,
Um,
right off the top of your head?
Yeah, no, of the current year, it's 2 point something. I mean, you got a
Okay.
school budget payment that goes out, I think about 400,000 a month. So you got 3 of those, you got a county tax bill all due at once in the first 3 months of a year, and another roughly $600,000. So you got 1.8 without paying for any municipal operation expenses, debt payments. And so if you were to do an equal 1/12 of the municipal budget, you'd be putting another 340,000 times 30, so another over $1 million on top of that.
But that's if for some reason we didn't get all of our tax revenue, we're using that as backup.
Well, I mean, there's the, having the money in there, so you can appreciate your own checking accounts, the ability to have cash flow to make payments that are due. We collect revenue in two large, 2 months, it's April, October 1st and April 1st.
So this is kind of in there before you get all the revenue, the tax revenue. So you're taking from that all the time.
I mean,
To fund these
our
larger,
general fund, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the bank account, yeah, the money's constantly entering and leaving.
Auditors typically recommend that a town keep in that fund, that's our savings account.
Mhm.
They still recommending 3 months. That they keep in that at least 3 months of operating costs. So if we ever heard of rampaging giraffes goes through the town, and we suddenly aren't getting money to spend for 3 months, we can draw from that.
Yep.
There's voting and stuff that has to happen, but we can take from that. You could have less, you could have more. Having more isn't recommended. Do you remember how much we drew from it to reduce the tax burden?
It's been about 150,000 steady for the last few years.
So my question is, if this is an appropriate time to just ask about revenue at this point. But you do have here that the past several years, you've been using 150. But this year, it looks like you're proposing only 105. And why is that?
It's just, my recommendation, I look at fund balance not as a regularly recurring revenue source. It's a fund that's available to us from unspent money, which might be $10,000 one year, it might be $100,000 one year. It's also not just unspent, but money that comes in excess of the revenues you projected. So we had interest that came in 2 years in a row. If we budgeted $80,000, we probably actually ended up in those 2 years with $500,000, just because the rates were what they were, and we didn't anticipate that up to 18 months out. Similar challenge this year. We're going to try and look at how much revenue do we want to earmark for interest on our accounts. That's one of our questions before we finish the budget process. How conservative do you go with that number, not knowing what interest rates are going to do in the next almost 18 months? So that's the other way it gets built. I chose and presented a lower number because I do not believe in the fundamental of just, you've got it, let's just use it. I'm looking at it more of, what are shorter term, maybe 2 year expenses we're looking at having to incur that we're not gonna have to, continue to have. If you're talking about funding regular operation, I don't agree with, I have the fund balance, let's just use it. Those are costs you have every year. Software costs, well, let's use money from the fund balance to fund the software this year. Well, it's an every year expense. So what happens next year if the fund balance isn't at a level that we can? Now you're adding insult to injury in some regard with an increase because you have less revenue to pull it in. So I was applying it mostly on the shorter term, 1 or 2 year kind of expenses. For example, in the general admin, we're not in there, but we got 1 more year to pay off the website build. It's like a $5,000 expense. So that would be one I would say, we're not going to have that cost next year. So let's just use fund balance to pay for the 3 years of.
Right, and you indicate that on the spreadsheets where you're looking to get the money to pay for that.
I just get concerned about, well, what's the balance? It's a lot of money, so let's just use X to hit a benchmark when you're actually treating it like a revenue stream, which it might not sustain at that level.
Yeah.
And again, then following year, you might have to either cut a lot more or raise taxation to cover that shortfall.
For further clarity, if at the end of town meeting, the total cost to the town budget was $4.8 million. Then you add to that what the school's gonna do to us. Okay, and with that, the calculation is therefore, we have to get X amount from the taxpayers to do that. We have to divide that up. We have been drawing every year, we have been taking $150,000 out of that fund to reduce that, would reduce that 4.8 million or whatever the total is by $150,000 the taxpayers have to cover. Okay, and so it reduces that, will drop that mill rate that little bit. therein comes the question. Oh, and sitting on the select board for a long time, while listening carefully to the town manager, that has largely been a very subjective number. It's been let's draw $150,000. You chat about it a little bit, you come up, and this year, the conversation, it looks like it's gonna start around, let's draw $105,000. And you chat about it, yeah, I like that, that's a good number, okay. Okay, that's largely how that number is decided. Again, with looking at the recommendation, it's not that careless, but it's not a formula that tells us how much to take out every year. Did that get those questions answered?
Yep.
Where are we? Hydrants. We have the motion, yes, for 246, 205, it was seconded.
Second.
All right, yeah, move the vote. All in favor of that number? Aaron, Sherry? Yes, unanimous, okay. Streetlights. The selectmen have recommended $8,200.
No, the streetlights and traffic lights have been, yeah, I mean.
Haven't been done yet.
Now, there should.
Yeah, it's not zero. They appear, it appears down again. It's been moved to a different department.
I see. Okay.
Public safety.
So why are they twice in the, under public safety and once under public works?
They moved
Should we
the
just-
line.
Just move the line.
We moved the line.
What line?
Andy, the 8,200, is that the cost of operation, or is that repair, or is that the cost of installation?
No installation, it's all repair, maintenance and powering.
And that
What's the
includes the new lights at around the new rotary.
Good question,
Ugh.
because that wasn't supposed to be on our bill. If I understand that right.
Well, I think Andy was trying to get.
And so far, we have declined.
So where are streetlights in the budget?
The streetlights used to show under public safety, and so it's still that item, so you can see the previous years, it's still
Page
there.
103 shows the breakdown of the cost of the 8,200.
What line?
Why did they have?
But now it's come down to public works. Page,
Page 103, there's one line, it's the streetlights, 50-82 on page 103. This is for the singular streetlights account. The proposal is $8,200 from me. It's been recommended by the select board at also $8,200. You see the breakdown to get to that cost of $8,200 of both power and maintenance. I tried to estimate what the maintenance and power costs would be if we took on the DOT lights as a roundabout. If we don't take them on, the $8,200, if you do take them on, it's estimated at close to $13,200.
The department reflects the larger.
The department request and the select board recommendation, is that the department requested $13,200 is equal to, yes, taking on the power and maintenance costs for the lights at the rotary. They estimated $2,200 to power them. And I'm estimating $5,000 potentially for maintenance. I'm not recommending that amount to be brought to power them. It's possible we may end up finding ourselves having to power them. That's not determined definitively at this point.
They're not going to turn them off. And
I don't imagine they turn them off. No.
no, I think it makes sense to try to get them to honor their obligation.
Yeah, it's not uncommon in talking to our colleagues in other towns. Most of the time, the lights on Route 1 tend to be powered by the towns, maintained by the DOT, which is at a minimum, the select board is expecting to come out of that. At a minimum.
have a motion for something on this item?
I move $8,200.
Okay. Bruce has moved. What'd you say, 8,200?
Yeah, 8,200.
8,200, is there a second for that?
Second,
Okay, Susan, thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, I'll move it. All in favor of the motion for 8,200? And unanimous, okay. Next item, traffic lights, which similarly has been moved from public safety down to public works.
Don't we have ambulance? Because
Mhm.
we jumped down because the streetlights jumped down.
No,
Oh, traffic lights did the same. Never mind.
Did I-
I see it.
did I say something?
No, I didn't put two of them on there. Figured I'd come back to them at the end of operating.
Oh, okay.
Why did it jump so much? Or should we have a motion and then I'll ask my question?
What's the question?
Why did the budget jump so much from 2026 to
Where are you?
or on traffic lights? It was $2,700 and now it's 5,200. They're asking.
4,200.
42.
That's the manager proposal. Okay.
select board was 42.
Why is it going from 27 to 42? I guess it's.
Okay.
I move the 4,200 just to get it on the ground.
Yeah, okay, Bruce had moved the 4,200. Is there a second for that?
Second,
Susan, thank you.
Okay, so now we have discussion.
Now
the
we can
question, yeah,
discuss.
discussion
I
is why is it?
guess the question begs, why did it go from 2,700 to 5,200 or 4,200?
4,200. The cost of maintenance, when we bring a crew in to deal with those is about $1,500 each time.
I bet it is.
This affords, if the lights go down throughout the year, 2 opportunities to bring the company in to do the work on there. So I'm hoping that we don't need it more than twice. But if you go down to, less than that by $1,500 and go back to 2,700, I've got a budget for one repair cycle on something that I imagine folks would consider pretty critical for moving traffic through town.
So the state doesn't help with those lights?
So that is actually a document the town signed to maintain those.
And I'm
They
sorry,
kind of-
Andy, how much did you say it was per?
1,500.
So that's 3,000 to do it twice. Okay.
They cut some distance, don't they?
We've started using a different company in the last couple of years. They're out of Bangor area. There's a couple locally that are trying to maybe get into it a little bit. We tried one out on some of the pedestrian crossing lights. We will continue to be open to finding anyone that can do the work and respond to our need. The group we've been using the last couple of years tends to be pretty responsive, though it does come with that cost of coming out of the Bangor area.
Takes a specialty company, it's not something we can do.
It's a similar expense for the street lights with them, though I do wait till there's 4, 5, 6 lights that are out before I call them to try and maximize their date, their trip, and we'll check in with our neighbors as well to the, Newcastle and in Bristol, because they put them up same time. So if they've got lights out, I'll call them and say, do you have anything? And they're open to kind of sharing that fixed cost. So. There have been times where the streetlights have been out for 6 or 8 months.
You could take them out at my place.
So we're
I
on
like the
traffic,
darkness.
in traffic lights.
Yeah,
So I move the vote. We've gone
all
back.
right, so we have a motion for $4,200. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of that motion? And it's unanimous.
No,
Okay.
No,
it's
No,
not
no, it's
unanimous.
Oh,
No.
I apologize. It is
Oh,
not.
that's why I asked the question about 1,500. I think 3,000, so I'm not I'm not.
All right, and opposed, but it passes.
But it passes.
It passes. I remember one year in reviewing these streetlights, we discovered that there was one behind Damariscotta Bank and Trust that we had paid for years, and it turned out it wasn't ours, it was theirs. It was not on the power company's inventory, it was on their inventory.
And now we went back to the ambulance check?
Um,
How are you doing?
yeah, I didn't see that at all. So
It's not supposed to have that
We
service.
didn't like it.
it wasn't on the agenda.
And the ambulance runs on a calendar year, Andy, is that correct?
Yep.
And these
Yeah,
figures are the December?
We pay once a year, so that was our cost
Where
for
is it?
this year.
For 2025 was $199,000.
Hundred,
Uh,
hundred nine, hundred six.
the current year we're in was 106,279.87 cents. Last fiscal year, $99,027 and a penny. The assessment's down $9,000.
So it's 97,355.
I'd like to move, we approve 97,355.
I second it.
I'd second by Larry.
But surely has a change.
It is a contract, it is a bill we will get.
More than a contract, a local agreement.
It's yeah.
And that's another outfit that will probably come back with a fuel surcharge.
Yeah.
You were looking at 20.
Yeah, and I think the agreement allows us to do that.
Fuel, which is their biggest cost,
Yeah.
or one of their biggest costs.
Yeah. All in favor of the motion for 97,365?
355.
Hmm?
355.
Three.
Karen isn't voting.
Can I
Karen,
do it right?
are you voting?
Karen's, yeah, it's
Unanimous.
what she's wearing on that arm matches.
Right, the wall.
Matches the wall
Right,
behind you.
Right, it does.
So when you put your left arm up, it's very difficult to see that it's your, yeah. Either arm, okay, doesn't matter.
Good.
Protects
So
us.
that passes. By the way, the other night, Wednesday night, for this town, the request passed to make a small change in the agreement. That basically makes them a quasi-municipal
Oh, right.
organization like the fire department is, but each of their towns has to agree to that. Right, and that is so that they can then access the Maine Municipal Association insurance programs and so on, which one of which apparently includes a retirement program.
Yeah, it's a separate state program, but yeah.
Okay,
Eligible
but
to
as a
access.
quasi-municipal, they can
So then rates will
they
go
can
up.
access that
and
retirement
give them more
program.
benefit, right? Okay.
This gave me just the next.
Bisky Beach.
Yeah, where was I? Bisky Beach, thank you. I requested $1,600.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve $1,600 for Bisky Beach.
Okay, is there a second?
Second,
Susan, second, thank you. Comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion for $1,600?
Can I abstain, please?
Good, Karen.
Why?
Sure.
I'm conflicted.
Well, I know, but I don't see a conflict here. You may be conflicted emotionally. Okay,
I'm just telling you what I would like to do.
I'm
It's
getting a
still going to
recommendation.
pass, but I would still like to.
Fine, extension accepted.
And what's
Okay.
the reason?
So don't take service.
Doesn't matter.
Well,
Does it matter?
no, you can abstain without giving a reason.
let's discuss that sometime. I disagree.
Robert's rules.
Thursday.
Okay,
Oh, is that right?
So did we get a final vote on?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay,
and I have on occasion seen it in this town where someone, rather than be exposed to how they feel about it, have abstained from a vote, and people didn't elect you to do that. That's a harsh statement. Dick made a harsh statement. Okay.
That service.
Yeah, well, okay, and under that, the debt service number, requested and approved by the selectmen is 191, 135. The item on there specifically is for road repair. Alright,
We skipped over the police department, we're not
We're
talking about
not,
that.
not today.
yeah, they haven't,
Well, because the select.
We're following what the selectmen are.
alright,
Oh, there we go.
Work on.
so that service, in other words, that's paying the loans that we have out. Yes, specifically for that amount.
It's not really any choice for them, is it?
Well. We go, but then the bank will come and take all our roads away. I'll go ahead and move 191,135.
Well, it's a little less than that, isn't it, if you take away the 20. She's 11, 15, $16,000 a week.
Really? Where?
Well, didn't we, well, wait a minute, I'm like confused here, you're saying, let's accept this 191.35, but we've already gone back and we've reduced it by 11, 13, 15, almost $16,000.
Where are you getting those numbers? Sorry.
Well, the debt
No, I
service.
think you're confused.
Maybe I'll,
Debt service is like loans out.
Yeah,
right?
the debt,
Yeah.
okay,
That's like our yearly bill.
yeah,
my bad.
that's our loans from the bank. Okay,
So we have loans for streetlights out?
We did, but they just paid the last one this year.
Good.
That was the cost to convert everything to LED.
So the road repairs work was done in 2022.
This was a bond that came out, the town took out in 2022, to do a multitude of road projects, some of which are still to be completed.
Yeah, I'm just saying, driving down Church Street is like driving through, I don't know, the desert. I said, it's a mess. And we've done it up several times for different purposes, that we could have done the sewers before we did the road. So building the road and then digging it up to build the sewers, and
Happens all.
it's a mess.
my experience has been that this winter and spring have been extremely hard on all roads.
Yeah. School
They're
Street.
all terrible.
And so long down to Elm Street.
Long time since I've encountered, potholes, yeah, okay, but actual washboard. This year, this washboard where it's just across, one of them is right out there. If you've gone down Chapman Street lately, it's.
Oh, yeah, right.
Are roads being posted? I mean, I worry
They are
about.
posted, they're posted Friday.
Yeah. But this is to pay.
Bond that
what we owe
already
now,
out
that
there.
we owe
needed to pay.
the bank.
Do we have a
Well,
motion
choice.
to pay this?
Motion, was there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
I beat you.
I beat you. By one finger.
I second by Connie. Now there is a motion and a second.
Call
Further
the vote.
discussion? Or concerns?
What's it discuss?
All in favor of the motion for 191, 135 for the debt service? And Jerry?
Yeah.
Anybody, it passes unanimously. Unless I missed something, I believe that's the items for tonight.
So I missed one operating, piece, well, more than one, two, the one more that has been voted by the board, recommended by the board with the general assistance and. The committee
Oh,
so
right.
desires, and then they also took up on almost all of the capital budget lines, with the exception of the fire truck. If you're interested in reviewing those.
General assistance.
Yeah, given that the clock is off an hour.
Oh, yeah. We were official, it's only 10.
General assistance is the last line, under the general government section.
And
I'll approve, I move $5,000.
I second.
Also.
And her second, was that Mary?
Is there no year-to-date spending of the general
Through
assistance?
December, there was not. It's another state mandated program we must provide, there's no direct tax, property tax implication, because we're utilizing the state reimburses, I think 75% of the cost we administer, or not administer, but provide. They don't provide us anything for the cost to administer the program. The remaining balance that we would pay for comes out of the Philbrook Fund.
And again, that's a number that could vary in either direction depending on how many people come in and ask for it. And as long as there's no limit on, as long as they meet the criteria, state criteria, there's no limit on, we can't restrict somebody. Right, so.
But it's 70, you said 75% of it is offset by the state
Correct.
general
Just
assistance.
assistance.
Did I take a motion on that?
Bruce and Mary second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I move the questions.
Questions or concerns on it? No, okay. All in favor of the motion for general assistance at $5,000? And passes unanimously.
Karen, I love you yellow.
Never knew my left from my right.
And what was the other one, Andy?
Capital,
All the capital.
all
Capital
the fire trucks
reserves.
by the select board, which should be reflected in your new.
Oh, where are you
sheet we handed out to you.
Oh,
Yeah,
capital
we got
reserve.
it.
Capital reserves.
We just gave you a rate, you're gonna stay,
It's a lot.
I suppose.
Some are easier than others.
So,
Page we.
Yeah, what page?
This-
So now we're in capital. Or after the
Hold on,
fire.
just hold on, this
Service.
Capital
This-
reserves.
This is, no, so remember up the, it's the back page, you should have that. It's, this is yours.
no, we're gonna go home. Okay,
That's up to the group.
okay,
Well, we could, is there an explanation, general explanation for the difference between the manager proposal and select?
I can attempt to go through each one of those as they come up again and offer those. We did go through them originally. I'll try to remember.
I was trying to listen to your discussion online, the recording of the meeting. You guys spent a lot of time with the select board going through each of those and
There's a whole meeting just for that.
yeah. So it seems like you really put your due diligence in on those.
okay.
With the idea of reducing some of.
Oh, the most recent, not going back to the original pitch, but yeah. the
Right,
select at the last meeting.
their last meeting, yeah.
Yeah, they went through that, with one of the select board members was hopeful that the increase, if the same amount of provider agency requests come in next year that we're in for this year, the overall increase is closer to like 8.3 or 8.5%. And so their goal was to try and get that number closer to 5%. Capital is where they kind of started a good chunk of these reviews, and so that they have spent some time talking a lot about that. We got into the big pullout sheets to talk about certain projects and what can be pushed off another year or two. And so they did put a lot of effort in and reduce that overall by what it was, third 40 or 50, 34,250, I think is what I have.
This was not on the agenda. So I'm gonna.
It was.
Was it?
Yes, it is. It's on the
Capital budget.
agenda. Capital budget.
I can see he made a good effort.
Yeah,
A
it's
budget
there, they did.
Oh, way down there.
Under the front yeah.
It is.
Operating budget and then capital.
Okay,
Up to the committee after
Yeah,
year.
we could spare.
yeah, it's only 5 minutes to 6. We're here. The weather allows us to be here. I'd like to suggest we plow into this unless there are any real objections.
So that was the only one you said that wasn't.
Yes, in fact, no, Florida. Thank you very much. All right. So, on the list, we should take them in that order, I guess. Municipal building, town manager requested 15,000. The board of selectmen have recommended 40,000. I'll move to 40,000.
Second.
second by Bruce. Andy, is there a short version or a longer? We can. I mean, I know we've looked through these numbers and so on.
Yeah, I think it was just the idea that if we have to put something off, we've got a couple things on there that were earmarked for next year that we could. We don't have to fix the walkways next year. The corner parking lot, we don't have to go and try and reconstruct that and fix pretty good issues we have right now. We're still waiting to get more definitive answer on just what percentage is expected, if any of that we're supposed to put into the parking lot repaving project. The deed says we're also responsible for our share based on square footage of the two buildings, for maintenance of the property. It was still one piece. In our world, capital is not the same as maintenance, so it's just what we have to work out with any family on that, but I'm budgeting it as if we do have to pay for our share of that, but I think it'll be off. So that's what we largely have talked about. There's a couple of things we can flip up with that.
Question? Given the condition of the walkway out here, are we at risk of any kind of a liability? I know tort law, but if we knowingly see that as a safety concern and don't do anything about it, what's our situation?
So the law protects towns in the sense that if there's a defect in this case, the sidewalk, we have a reasonable time frame to fix it. That does not mean replacing the whole thing.
The capital would be replacing the whole thing
Eventually, we have to replace the whole thing, and hopefully we have.
versus some coal patch and all that.
We're talking right up from here.
Right out front, up above, walkways and doorways.
Couple of spots.
Oh,
How about the hole at the corner of the walkway out here?
Yeah, all of that. I mean, we can do a little with gravel and patch, and until then, we do have to tend to and replace the whole thing and hopefully make it wider. The numbers I was coming up with, hopefully if we were to go to 5 or 6 feet wide. It's not a very big project. We can do a lot of prep work on it. The puddles that exist in the corner off the building here are symptoms of bigger issues with drainage coming off the roof and the property that we have to, in theory, maybe put a catch basin in, but on this lower lot, you're talking about putting a catch basin in and draining it to where there's no direct pipe that goes out into the road on this end of the. So it's a bigger project, but again, those can kind of wait for now if we have to. And it's possible, potentially possible, some of these things be paid for from the tip account to start generating meaningful revenue.
Any further questions or concerns about what capital?
What pages are these on the?
Right here.
The big book.
In the big book.
It's the ones that fold out.
One of the,
Number four,
one of the.
Municipal building, the list of projects there on the list.
You gotta get under the second tab.
This tab.
Yep. Oh, that's it.
All right. Okay, got it.
Yeah, those pull-out tabs are a 10-year outlook, trying to project the running balance in the account. There's a list of projects that explain certain pending level requests and expectations or assumptions on replacement or purchase of things.
Any more questions or concerns on this one?
What are you talking about? Just the municipal building? Or you
Just a
talking about the whole
municipal
thing?
building, we have to do them individually.
Keep their own warrant article on.
Okay.
Meeting.
Question.
I'll take a vote then. All in favor of the motion, which I think is 40,000?
Jenny, you can vote now.
Are we all, yeah,
Okay.
all right, Karen, yes, all right. And Mary, yes, okay, so it passes
Jenny, yes or no?
No.
at 40,000. Next item is the fire station. Town manager proposal 150,000, the board of selectmen have recommended 142.5. Right, so Yeah.
Andy, could you remind us why the department request is so much, $30,000 lower. Was there something else that you added in there?
We had a difference of opinion on the cost of the driveway work. That said, the fire chief expected that to be closer to $300,000, and I'm hoping it's closer to $225,000. There's a lot of uncertainty.
You're proposing more than he asked for. You proposed
Correct.
$30,000 more than he even asked for, and then the select board cut it by 7,500.
Yeah, I don't know if you're, I may or may not have updated that, when John came in, to that meeting about the capital. I didn't have his recent apparently updates, when I printed it. So it's possible that one I think was higher than the 150. When I printed it, it was at the 120. I did update the truck one, because that's now at 185. On his
So what
request.
is it that John is asking for?
I'll have to go back and, I don't have it right in front of me, I guess if it's a different number. I have a spreadsheet, I can get it if folks want to give me a second.
Okay.
So. Is it 150?
No, that's what Andy put in. I know there was something about a roof and some like floor work and something like that. I just don't remember what the number was.
The $75,000 roof gutter improvements. 5,500 decon improvements, $50,000 floor refinish.
So that's
was updated.
130.
John was asking for the 120.
Then I would propose that we recommend 130,500, which is what if I did my math in my head correctly. So Jenny, please correct me, but that covered kind of those numbers you just threw out.
Hasn't John got quotes for those, what it costs to fix, what he wants to fix? I mean, that's,
The parking lot?
no, what she's talking about on that right
I
there
did,
was the
sorry.
roof and,
Roof's been completed,
the roof, floor, and what else did you say?
the floor's been completed.
The decon, these are committed appropriations.
I'm sorry, what are you referring to?
I'm looking at the side, on the pullout sheet, it says,
What page, Jenny?
it's page 4 of 50 on the, after the tab.
On
But
the
it's
capital
after
improvement.
The detail, yeah. And it says, that's municipal building, that's not the fire station. Well, there's
No, on page 4, it's all of them.
page,
So you're
Oh.
looking at the comment, the committed appropriations column?
yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna
All right.
encourage folks to look at page 6 of 15.
6, please.
It looks like he increased his ask to 175. Andy, you reduced it to 150, and then the select board has reduced it even further to 142. All right, then I do not want to do 130. I would go with the reduced select board number, which is 142,500.
Yeah,
And why did they-
$7,500 deduction is an interesting number.
Yeah, they're doing the same principle this committee took on the operating budgets you looked at. They gotta try and cut somewhere. We looked and talked a long time about the project list. Are there other revenues that have come in? Are there other things we can do? Do we have to push anything off?
Okay.
I did mention to them that they were page 6 of 50 is the pullout sheet for the fire station. And it lists all the projects that we're proposing needing funding for.
the tab.
Yep, it's in the right place, just page 6.
So they were taking the same approach, Dick. It's gotta come from somewhere. They started with capital rather than operating, and that's kind of what they got to. It was like, okay, let's try and pull some of this down.
That's right.
Acknowledging that there's a lot of stuff we're behind on funding, but for example, you'll see under FY 27 column on page 6 for the fire station, there's an estimated grant funding and reimbursement line. I had 120,000. The estimated cost for the wastewater upgrade at 135, depending, we got one county grant to fund 2 projects. One of them's gonna be for this replacement of this system, the other one's for housing study assessment. That bid is out, so I'll have a better sense and knowing how much we can put towards this, but my hope was that we could put the full 135 of that grant towards that. So they saw a little flexibility in understanding that might be the case. So they felt comfortable with that number. That said, we did talk about the driveway resurfacing component of it. When the back parking lot was done, there was a lot of unstable soil underneath that surface, and they dug a lot more out than originally anticipated. So we might likely find the same thing in the front portion in trying to reconstruct that driveway. If you haven't driven in there, I encourage folks to do so. I don't think it'll survive another winter with asphalt surface.
What, in front of the fire
The
station?
whole driveway in, it's about 400 feet off the roadway. The whole driveway in there, and everything in front of the station. Right now, you can't even open the museum door. I think it's possible you won't be able to open the hallway door, under the more significant heaving we get. The asphalt in front of the building is just such that it's time to replace it. The back was done 5 or 6 years ago, I think.
Yeah, the driveway was a problem and had redoing. Not that long after we moved into the building,
It's a very,
that there were problems with that, and I think it's the soil underneath.
Wait, they built it on swamp.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's wetland soils.
yeah, it wasn't legally wetlands, but it was wet.
It was wetlands.
Yeah,
We didn't have the same rules back then when we come down.
yeah, you know,
Or the same enforcement maybe.
Is this the first, this is needed to happen since the building was built there?
the driveway,
The
yeah.
driveway, so
far as
we've
I know.
never done anything to it up until this point.
It's possible, they've had to
Yeah.
do some drainage improvements, they put a couple catch basins in front of the building. So I think there was, I don't know if they surfaced the front since it went in, I mean, it was constructed and opened in what, 99 or 2000, I think. Somewhere in that time frame. So it's been about 30 years.
Yeah.
And so if it's had pavement on the front, it's been an overlay, it hasn't been anything.
I don't think they've ever dug any pavement up and rebuilt the road. They just resurfaced it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, one of the things is, of course, putting this off, whenever we do it, it'll be more expensive down the road. Costly considering,
It sounded like a priority.
so, yeah.
So I made the motion. Did someone second?
So,
and been moved and seconded, yes, right?
Now it has.
Okay, no further questions. So the motion is for 142.5. All in favor of that number? And yes. Nicely done, Karen, thank you. That arm right up there. There are a lot of things I like about Zoom, but there's some that I don't. So it's hard. The next item being highway facilities, which is, in other words, that's over on Peter Road, right?
On the back end of the fire department property, it's all one piece.
Yeah. We've gone over that a lot. Did they have anything in particular for $5,000 that they didn't want?
Same principle, we don't, we're looking at, we gotta take down an old storage structure there that's probably 1 foot to 2 feet in the ground on one side. Broken floors throughout is actively used to store, road signage and such. So I'm proposing that we get ready to start prepping a new structure there.
It's the original building.
And Andy, this is the one that the insurance company is going to require we replace, right?
Not that one, but if they saw it, they might, no, the sand salt sheds, what they've noted that needs to be replaced in the next 3 to 5 years from that 2024
Right.
assessment.
Yeah, so some of it's that. Okay.
Town manager requested $100,000. The selectmen have recommended $95,000. I take a motion.
I moved the 95
All right, thank you.
select
Susan.
board
That's a
recommendation.
motion of 95,000. Karen seconds, okay? Questions or concerns?
Yeah, Andy, you said you're gonna tear that building down that's out there? Are the town employees gonna do that, or are you gonna you gonna hire that out?
It's very possible, because there's no power to it, it's all wood.
That's what I was
It's not
thinking.
painted, yeah, it's very possible, we could tear it down, we gotta put something else back up presumably. Cause it is actively used for storage. So
And you
the
guys-
thought I had behind these numbers at 100,000 was to put a good pad down. Get a couple more shipping containers, get a farm tech top to put over it, essentially, get some power in there. What you put down for a base is, will drive some of that cost, whether it's concrete, asphalt, or just gravel. But the idea was to be able to have a building not heated but powered, so you can work on equipment and such, but get all of our implements hopefully under cover, so the sun's not drying out hoses and fittings and prematurely making this stuff fail. Right now, half of our implements are just under the sun. So we're just trying to get a space that we can put stuff under cover. Right now, there's a tent out there for some of the equipment that's left over from a previous employee. Probably 16 by 20. I said, we don't have half of our implements under there.
How big a building are you proposing?
What we do we have one for.
How big a slab? I guess that's my best question is how big a slab are you proposing?
Give me a second, I'll get into that bigger switch.
So it's dependent on the damn new public works direction?
No.
No?
Sand salt shed has to be replaced regardless. How big it's gonna be will depend on the outcome of that. At a minimum, that number there is what I've estimated it to cost us to put up something that we currently need for the amount of material we put up and go from 2 buildings to 1.
Are there questions or concerns?
Well, I'm waiting for an answer here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's right, you went to square footage of slab, sorry.
I had it down, looks like I had it down at 2,700 square feet.
Which would be 50 by 50, 55 by 50.
Yeah, I think we were looking 40 feet deep plus another 10 for the back wall container. We put 3 containers up. So you're about 50 foot without any sort of ramp on the front end.
50 by 50 is 2,500.
Yeah. 80, 10, 20, and the span was about 30, so. About 50 by 50 roughly, depending on how much beyond those you want to go with. Either
And then
asphalt or.
then you're talking like 40-foot metal containers?
Yeah.
Shipping containers?
Yeah, we got one right now, which we can use for one of the either ends or sidewall. If I get a couple more. Challenge we have is the footprint of the lot with that, especially with that sand building circular and in the middle. The property line, going towards the shooting range is the back of that building that's fallen in is pretty close to the line now. We might have to go to 20-foot containers potentially, which would barely fit a truck if you're gonna park a truck under it at 20 feet deep. So going 40 foot would allow us to put a truck under it. The truck barely fits with a plow and sander in it. It wouldn't fit in the garage we have. Only stripped down will it go in there. I think even then you're folding mirrors in.
That answer your question, Larry?
It does. You should be able to put something, what you're talking about, 100,000, should be a one-time expense. Certainly need to put equipment under cover.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to swallow, but I understand the need.
And I think those tops, if you go with the, heaviest gauge you can at the time for an extra $5,000 roughly, and to go to a 12-year warranty to a 15 or 20-year warranty. So
On what's that?
some of those fab, those PVC type tops that you can get, the covers. The framing hopefully would last longer than that. You probably would just have to replace the top if you put it on a good enough pad. You probably get those containers to last you quite a while. Like what we're doing.
Low shipping containers?
Yeah.
They're about $1,500 a piece.
Delivered, we put high cubes.
I don't know about delivered, but
Last I knew, they were pushing delivered, they were about 5 to 6 grand. For the high cube 40-foot containers.
I had a 20-footer, I think I paid $800 for, and that was 7 years ago, so.
Yeah, it took a big difference, with COVID, happened. I try to track in some of the stuff the best I can, and, there's a lot more detail that's not there that if I can find it quickly, I can not offer. But delivered, they were, I was seeing between 5 and 7,500 from delivered.
Before I buy cans, I put a building up. That's me.
Mhm.
I'm fine.
Any other questions or concerns? Can you see those folks?
Notes, talking about it.
There they are. Okay. Seeing no others, question, yeah,
Calling it.
good question, yeah. And the motion was for 95,000, all in favor of that motion? And,
Reluctantly.
yeah, a lot of it. And Mary? Yes, okay.
Yeah.
And the motion passes. Yeah, a lot of it is I really like it, and regrettably,
Well, it costs you more if you don't have equipment on the cover. End of the story.
yeah.
Not doing the fire truck yet.
The fire truck, they haven't, I had to get back, to them, just based on, John had like a 30-year outlook on the apparatus replacement that he had shared. And I put a link to it, in the budget question docs that came up by the select board. So they weren't ready to move that one, because I didn't have that longer term, funding goal of theirs. They haven't recommended that one yet.
Why do I have a number here?
Yeah, we have a number. but-
110,000
From the manager or from the select board?
from the board, select board. Is that a mistake?
Yes, it's a mistake because they didn't move it.
Oh.
They didn't move it,
So
they didn't.
that's
Okay, that's
They did not.
a mistake.
I guess I put it in there, like, the overall change was, that was the only thing they didn't approve.
Yeah, they didn't have that.
It's actually recommended to be, the chief's numbers at 185, and the question was how, what says there's somewhere in between we can go without jeopardizing, the ability to. So what we've been trying to do is that loan payment, order the truck, put $500,000 down to try and guarantee our spot, and we were able to cut the cost by, I think, 56,000 by putting that much up front. So we're trying to anticipate how much in 3 years, how much not fund balance, how much reserve money can we put towards this to lower the bonded amount, not pay interest? We've got a TIF account that if the projects are built out in the TIF district, we can use 10% of the cost of that truck from that account. So there's 176,000 potentially from there. And so we were trying to figure out what would be the bonded amount potentially with kind of known, heavily assumed known offsets between now and then that we can raise. What we've also done is, as of Friday, we submitted for earmark funding from Representative Pingree office to help pay the remaining balance of the ladder truck, plus another $105,000 in equipment upgrades that are needed, that are forecasted in the equipment line. We'll submit to Collins and King, Senators Collins and King, before theirs come due, in the hope that maybe that we could get some earmark funding to further reduce, the burden for the taxpayers on that, but that's not guaranteed, so.
Right.
What we were trying to anticipate is when that note's taken out, what is that annual payment gonna be on the debt side? And to try and, over the next 3 years, build up this line so that in year 4, if that payment comes due, we've already built up to it, rather than in year 4, guess what, we know right now there's $150,000 increase because we'll have that debt payment. So we're just trying to step it up in a more meaningful way, because to raise 150 in 1 year on one account, one line, that's hard to swallow too.
Yeah.
But we are working to try and find offsetting funds for that. But they weren't ready to vote on that number yet.
Fire equipment line?
So we're not gonna vote on, act on that
Yeah,
either.
correct.
Is that?
Yeah,
okay.
that was a mistake.
Okay.
The equipment, they're good, the truck they didn't.
little plaque out in the hallway that's pasted on March 9, 2026. The office made a mistake. Notable. Never happened.
That was me, I did it.
Never happened. Oh, we'll put it on the town bill. Well, that we.
It's okay, I make a lot of.
Plaque is gone. So, okay. Cause if it was the ladies
So
up
they,
front,
it's,
It wasn't
Never
me, so I didn't know what happened.
never happened.
so the equipment, fire equipment, they requested 11,000, the manager and the select board suggested 6,000, I cut of 5,000. What was your thought on
Can
that?
can I get a motion or a number first? I'll move the $6,000 for
I'll
discussion purposes.
I'll second this.
Seconded by Connie. Now, question. What was the
What was the
reason?
rationale to delete 5,000? What did you think they didn't need?
Not that I didn't think they needed anything, I'm using the running balance, the numbers I had at the time when I printed this. Were such that the running balance wouldn't have gone below zero. John had updated the numbers on. The SCBA equipment. So he recommended the $11,000, to be able to afford those. In the future, the ones they're utilizing now are retrofitted. 2008, I believe he said in his. Packet. They're recommending through NFPA standard, well, manufacturers standards typically recommend 15 to 20 years. No more than 15 to 20 years, it all depends on use care, but they have to pass, mostly have to pass the testing requirements, in NFPA. And so we're on 20 years from our retrofitted units. And so he wants to start replacing those. You can see there in 29, 31, and 33. The cost to replace those is included in the request we just submitted.
Well, don't the SCBA's appear in the regular budget line too?
There's maintenance costs in there, and they does sort of by the turnout gear in three pieces of sets of turnout gear a year, which the SCBA's are in addition to that. I think part of the essentially the uniform.
So what's up in the regular budget? That's maintenance,
For the SCBA's, yeah.
not purchase.
Right.
Okay.
I think it's the minimum we could do.
My whole point when trying to share that 10-year and that bottom line of estimated balance was just to see, are we gonna be able to hit those numbers with the projected appropriations looking ahead, the estimated expenses.
Yeah.
So with that, with trying to find grants or go after grants, for this year, I proposed the 6,000 instead of the 11, just because I had to do the same thing you guys are all doing right now, so try and find a place that won't jeopardize us, but we can live with.
Any further questions or concerns about the $6,000 budget for the fire department? Seeing none, I'll call it all in favor. Shari?
Sherry, are you voting?
Is Shari with us? There she is. All right, so yes, that's unanimous. Police vehicle setting aside. Town manager requested $45,000. The selectmen have recommended $35,000.
I'd like to make a motion that we, recommend $25,000.
I'm on a second that.
Who was that? Mary?
Mary seconded.
Okay, seconded for $25,000.
Discussion on that, Andy, is that 35 or 25, whatever it is that going into an account to purchase a vehicle? It's
Among
not
other-
purchasing a vehicle,
Among other things, yes.
so that's kind of like going into a reserve account for vehicles.
All of these are so the way the reserve account is set up, the voters, you all make a recommendation, the voters on the warrant approve appropriating these amounts, or whatever amounts are approved at town meeting to the reserve account. From there, the select board, are the trustees of those accounts. These accounts have been set up specifically for purposes. In this case, it is more than just a vehicle. We expanded it two town meetings ago, I think, to incorporate all the other expenses of, technology and other things, so we didn't have multiple police reserve accounts. It's all just grouped into one. So you can see right now, the balance in there is 51,000 and some change. Was estimated to replace the F-150 fully outfitted at 75,000. There's some discussion downstairs as to whether they do replace it with another pickup truck. If you go back to an SUV, based on the numbers that just came back from the county, there's reason to think that you'd be able to save $6,000 to $8,000 right off the top there, by going back to an SUV. So that's something that they've been talking about amongst each other downstairs with the new chief. So that's where the select board was kind of landing and reducing that number to 35 by 10 grand. They thought with the pricing where it's at right now, plus the trade-in value or sale value or a third car, that we have today, that they would be able to cover that 10,000.
When are they looking to replace this vehicle?
This coming year.
In
So-
2026?
Yes.
So that's every 3 year.
Or your front line, yeah.
So, I mean,
The
they might maybe have to go to like 3.5 or 4 year,
Maybe
It's 4 years now.
five.
or 4.5 to 5 year.
Right. So they're
It looks
run
like
very.
we're buying a new car every 2 years in the capital improvement in the reserve. On
Yeah,
page
each
12,
Yeah, we've got 2 primary cars, and each of those are in service. The projection is they're in primary front use for 4 years. In 4 years' time, they're pushing 100,000 miles. The 2022 F-150 right now, I think's got just over 90,000 on it. They are run differently than our personal vehicles in terms of engine hours. We don't think about that on the personal side, but that takes a toll on a vehicle. And it still needs to serve us a couple more years as a third reserve spare vehicle, essentially. So we're trying not to get to the point where we don't have the access to a third vehicle. And so we just read at that point where it's pushing 100,000 miles by the end of this fiscal year. And this is set up in a way to fund things in a way that would get us to replace those vehicles after 4 years of service.
Well, they're not run like our personal vehicles are, but they're certainly not run. They're not abused either. I mean, they do a lot of idle time, but they're not run down the highway at 70 miles an hour, i.e. if you was going to Portland every day.
In some cases, that might be better for you.
It might be.
Wouldn't
But the other side of it is, I'm not sure why they get $75,000 for these F-150 pickups. I don't know what an SUV is, but you can buy a brand new Ford F-150, not outfitted,
How much? Yeah.
for $48,000,
$48,000
$49,000.
to $55,000. We're estimating $55,000 for an F-150 police interceptor package. And another up to $20,000 to get everything on it and in it that it needs to be in service. And we're paying $17,000 and change for this last F-150.
And why do they need a special police interceptor around here? I mean, I know that's a sex appeal and whatnot, but you haven't got a road in Damariscotta, basically, that you can drive more than 50 miles an hour on.
Yeah, I think the county just got bids back. The difference between those was about $2,000 for the Durangos, which is what we went with for some of their vehicles this year. So it's an option that we can look at, certainly. This right here
I mean, I just don't see why
So
an interceptor is a high speed, high performance motor. I don't understand why we need to spend extra for that.
Shari, is your hand up? Has it been up for a long time? Shari, are you there? Are you there?
I'm with Larry, so I'm online right
I
now.
apologize.
Mary?
Being online is that I can look things up right here. And so I'm on, a police vehicle website, and the outfitted vehicles are costing like $67,000 to the 67.9, 61.93, and these are including the upfit and everything. So I'm with Larry on why they want so much money to buy a vehicle. Why?
So
I think we can.
in there. Yeah.
I think that if we give them 25 on top of the 51 that's already in the reserve, they have enough money to buy a vehicle next year.
Well, then they want 10 grand for the software, right?
No,
But these are upfitted. I'm looking at the prices to do these upfits, is what they call them.
Yeah, the upfit gets you your light package, it gets you your decals, it gets you the separation in the back of the trucks or in the SUVs to protect the officer from someone they might have in custody. It takes all into account. What it doesn't typically include is dashboard cams, radars, those things that still have to go to a company to get done. And so, Mary, our numbers are not that far off. The difference really is whether we go with a truck or and what I budgeted, I don't know where that shop or where those prices are coming from, but these are prices that we have based on actual vehicles we purchased in the last 2 years. We just put one into service this past calendar year. And so when we were doing it, what we were proposing is actually spending less by potentially going back to an SUV versus the pickup truck, which we think will save us 8 to 10 grand.
Yeah.
Which is where the select board fell. If you go forward with the proposal that's currently on the table, you kind of handcuffing it to potentially have to wait another year.
Well, maybe that's okay.
Maybe that's, yeah, I was just saying, maybe that's okay.
Yeah, I think it's
So,
okay.
but my question is, those are showing FY 27 expenditures. So like in later this year. In
Yeah, July 1
26.
of 2026 is FY 27 start.
Okay, right,
It'll take about 12 to 16 weeks to
yeah.
get them in. That's just from the dealer, and then you got another, depends on how you can get in line at the places that need to go. There's usually 2 other places that have to go to, electronics and decals. So you're talking probably another 8 weeks to get it into service once you got it. Unless you can get a company to do it all at once, which we are open to trying to find.
There's such a thing as just running a police car out too far before you trade it in.
That was my next question. What's the problem with just running a car until the wheels fall off?
I will tell you that in a dark period of my life, I sold cars. We would not take a police vehicle in trade for anything. Because by the time they got traded in,
Yeah, but we're at a different time zone, Dick, for what cars are now. There used to be a time we traded a car had 70, 80,000 miles. Oh my God, a car's half wore out.
yeah,
Now
but we run them.
100,000 is
Well, yeah,
nothing
but we
different.
run them,
I understand.
we've adapted and we run them longer. Okay, when I was a kid, your car got to 50,000 miles.
They had a lot of money.
It was done. I mean, then you
Right.
started replacing major components, all right? We've already adjusted to that. And so I'm gonna suggest that the same thing prevails, that there's such a thing as running it. That's hard work on a car, being a police vehicle.
The point of the reserves, from my perspective, is to have the money so when it does fail, you
Yeah.
hopefully plan to replace it. If we get to the point where the transmission drops out of the Explorer, which was a question a year ago, and we had to change the fluid. Sometimes they just don't like to get it after 100,000 miles. And that one's got some electrical issues that need to be chased that we aren't right now chasing because it's a third vehicle and doesn't seem to make sense to invest in that at this point if we were gonna trade it or get another vehicle or a new vehicle to ship down. But I think if you go to that number at 25,000, you run the risk of not being able to fund the new vehicle for another 16 months.
I was gonna say, is there's other things besides the vehicle that's in this line? So you said it wasn't just the vehicle.
Right, we've got things in there for other equipment if we need to buy it, technology.
It includes the dispatch system.
For the vehicle.
No, I'd be inclined
To
to
support the department, yeah.
stick with the 35. I think that-
Well, we have a motion.
But we have,
Okay,
we have
Motion is for
motions.
25.
We'll get to
Motions
that
on-
if the motion fails.
Tony's got a question.
Yeah, just to be specific, what's the rationale for the 25? I mean, I've heard references, but I want it specifically, why 25 instead of 35?
Joe, motion, Jenny, go ahead.
Okay, well, the idea is that if needs be, they can extend the life of the vehicle. They're trading them every 3 years at this point.
4.
4 years?
4 years.
Okay, maybe it goes 4.5 years, okay, or something. And also moving to a less expensive vehicle like the SUV will help. And
That's already
just,
taken into account.
With the select board's recommendation.
right,
Right.
but I just think maybe extending the life of these vehicles.
Okay, so that's the
Yeah,
rationale.
that's it, that's the rationale. So we're not,
Okay,
and I think isn't it more than, it's tighter than every 4 years, isn't it?
We're trying to, we haven't really had a system since, when I was looking at it when Chief Warlick was here, we tried to implement what we have right now on paper, which is trying to get that frontline vehicle 4 years in service, assuming 15 to 20,000 miles per year. And that way it's able to become the third vehicle with good life, useful life left in it for potentially 2 more years. So we're asking for the cars to be available to the department for 6 years, really, each car.
But only
The other
getting
part
up
of it-
to like 130,000.
Correct.
The other part of it is I look
think
at,
Cars
we didn't-
go longer now.
Well, when we go and talk about police operating budget, we can then talk about the potential offset for repair bills too, because it's just inadvertent, you know it, when you hit a certain mileage or year of vehicle, you start to see more repairs, so we're mindful of that too.
maintenance has a lot to do with that, though.
They go pretty regularly.
I'm saying if it's maintained regularly, you'll have less
Yeah.
repairs on it.
I was gonna make an observation that what we do is almost all police departments do, is called slip seating. And
We
that
do.
is to say, you drive the car and when your shift is over, it goes to him. When you shift over, it goes to him. The problem is that your personal vehicle, you realize that you should probably get it to the garage because something sounds funny. When you slip seat a vehicle, the driver does not want to do that because his shift is over and he's going home and he passed, I don't know if you slip seat your trucks.
No, sir.
All right, you pass, so the problem is that, that's another reason the police car does not last as well as a similar vehicle as a personnel. It's not, and matter of fact, please pass my comments to the new chief, because part of that is department management. Okay, it has to be a system that, yeah, it doesn't wait until it collapses. If 5 guys have been driving and none of them said that it was making a funny little noise.
Yeah, the good news is we have one person tasked with maintaining the fleet and scheduling all of the maintenance that's needed. There are only 2 vehicles that they're trying to.
But we got somebody who's
Maintain.
watching that stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, no, they get regular service. The only thing you're not seeing is the true cost, because the garage we tend to take it to doesn't.
yeah,
What the going rate is,
Yeah.
whatever it is. So I mean, it's artificially low, the numbers we've been seeing on the maintenance side, but they go in pretty regularly.
my first year as a selectman, I raised the question of why we were buying our gas from Colby and Gale when it was the most expensive station in town. I slept with my clothes on that night because I got told that on the other side of that equation is that Colby and Gale give so much to the town regarding those departments. If you can go there at night and get the police car fixed if there's a problem with it, they'll come fix it, so. It's the right place to do business.
The other part of, I would like to add to Jenny's proposal is we've had extremely high increases in police budget over the last 3 years. This might be a place that we could cut a little bit more, at least show, I know the selectmen have taken 10 off that we can take another 10 off. It's one of those wants rather than needs. And I think, I don't see stretching a car another 6 months is gonna make or break us,
It's more than 6 months, it'd be a whole year.
even a year. I don't even see a year. I ran a lot of equipment that I should have turned in and kept it because of cost.
I'm gonna call the motion, if I may. The motion on the floor is for $25,000. All right, and I'll take all in favor of that motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and opposed? 3. Okay, motion passes. For $25,000.
Well, the town can vote on it.
Well, the will.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? There's gonna be.
This is
two-
just for our recommendations though, Jen.
It's just recommendations.
Right.
You know,
It's recommendation.
So the
So
town
it
can say. we
passes for
want-
the recommendation.
Take the select board.
Yeah,
recommendation.
yeah.
And when the town at that meeting sees that article, it will show. Selectmen recommend $35,000, budget committee recommends $25,000. Somebody surely will ask why the difference.
Yeah.
And then townspeople will vote to select a number.
Yeah, so this is not the end of the.
No,
No, no,
The
no,
end of
no.
No, but they look to us to ask all these questions.
Right.
That the town meeting would go on for 3 weeks if that's what had to happen.
So we have to remember when somebody asks questions, we have to remember.
Our rationale.
Yeah.
And.
So we use minutes.
Which we thoroughly documented in the minute.
That's right.
Next item is the highway truck. The town manager recommended 35,000, selectmen have recommended 33,250.
Again, Andy, is this going to go reserve?
Yes,
I take it.
all of these, very on this page are for the reserve. Then the select board as trustees of the reserve accounts put in place by the order have the responsibility of expending those for the reason for provided.
I'll take a motion for a number,
28.5.
28,500. Larry recommends $28,500. Is there a second for that?
I second it.
Okay. Jenny recommends, okay, second. Same concerns.
Yeah, and almost they mirror each other. That maybe we can go a little bit longer if we have to with a piece of equipment and do maintenance on it and extend the life expectancy of it a little bit. Just, what can we afford?
Yeah.
I'll just put out there for the record, we do maintain the vehicles better now than we had in the past. And it's all about budget and affording the ability to do the maintenance. And we have been better about it. The current truck's at a position where this calendar year, or this fiscal year, from July 1 to where we are now, it's been out of service for about 100, 105, 110 days. As part of our.
How much is in that reserve right now, Andy?
118.
118, that's 550 or 350? 350.
Proposing a 550.
You're proposing a 550?
Yeah, that's what we have now.
That's what you have now. Okay, that's what I was after. You have 118, so.
But you're planning on buying the dump truck.
That's at 550, yeah, so the only.
What are they allowing you? Were they talking about allowing you for trade-in?
Don't know, was cast it dangled 42,000 in front of us and then weren't able to take our call.
Casco Bay will.
We were gonna do it right then and there, but they didn't have anything in the lot ready to roll out either, so we had to put money into it. We've had to put some pretty significant repair amounts in the last couple of years to that thing, because we just working components have started to fail.
Look, you've got 118 now, out of 30 would be at 148,000. You'd be able to buy at 550 for that, easy.
Right, yeah, part of this funding level was as proposed, a second vehicle. So that when the only vehicle we do have is out of service, the employees aren't expected to, well, they're expected to still be able to work, but not do it with their own vehicles. It's the only vehicle we have.
Because the capital budget has us buying a vehicle this year. When I say this year, I really mean next fiscal year, and then another one in the following fiscal year. So we don't want to fully reduce the amount, because we're going to need some money in there to get the second vehicle in 2 years.
Well, you've got some money in there. You've got 118 in there. We'll propose another 28 would be 140.
Right, but we're going to buy a vehicle for 125.
$40,000 vehicle. You still should have $50,000 close left over.
You'd have 58,000, but then you need to buy the vehicle the following year. So you want to build the reserve up to have enough to get through the next 2 years. It's not just the 1 year purchase. It's having enough left over or still in the reserve to get ready to buy the second car.
Well, on that note, yeah, and on that note, the FY 28 is, projecting a new, like F-350. It doesn't have to be new. So, there's still room to work with that. The biggest thing is whether or not we're gonna be replacing that 550 this coming year. I think I'm assuming a trade-in value or sale value at $30,000.
30.
We have to put a new seat in it before we sell it, but we've invested in it. We've repainted, did the work underneath last year, repainted the body, the dump body. So we did what we had to try and stop flaking underneath and do that thing. So we've done some good things for it that should hold its value on the resale. The only issue we've got is I think the driver's seat at this point just needs to be swapped out.
Go see a junkyard.
But hoping 30 grand is the number we can get that, goes into that. And then if we have the ability to buy just people that look at vehicles, the difference between a brand new F-350 and a used F-350, it's a question of whether you want the warranty and you want someone else's 50,000 miles of problems potentially, to save 10 grand. But for me, it's all about that crew of two at the moment, that we have is two, and they've got one truck to work with. And this year we saw over 100 days right now, as of right now, since July 1, they haven't had it.
You bought that diesel. The town never should have bought that diesel.
Yeah,
If they'd asked somebody that worked with diesels, they would have told them that 8 years ago.
Doesn't help
us.
us. Yeah, doesn't help us today.
No, it does not.
No. Okay, I'm
Question?
still hearing a lot of want versus need there, so. okay,
Exactly.
Yeah. Any further questions or concerns?
Just reiterate again for me, why 28.5 instead of 33,250?
It's 27.
It's one of those places that I think there's a little bit of room for some fat in there.
Mhm.
And $5,000 is another
That such
figure
as,
that I think that we can reduce that. And maybe still make it work.
And the
that
next
such
year,
as,
we could always increase the allocation if we
We
find
could.
we are short for the second vehicle.
Good.
Yeah, what we're trying to, and most of the reserve items, what we're trying to accomplish is
There's some reserve, but not as much as
amount
maybe.
sitting in a savings bank.
It's the savings account.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd like to put more money into my savings account out of every paycheck, but I just can't sometimes.
Right.
yeah.
so what's the fat we're cutting out?
5,000.
But what is applied?
Well, that's gonna go into a reserve.
Exactly, right. What
So just
fat do you
less will
think-
go into the reserve.
Just less will go into the reserve.
We'll still be able to buy the first vehicle.
We'll
next
still
year.
be able to buy the truck. We'll still be able to have
Are
money
you
left
talking
over.
about extending the life of the current, is that what you're?
You probably won't even have to, $5,000.
Yeah,
It's probably more about the next vehicle, whether. or
yeah,
not-
it looks like it's gonna be.
Right.
That
Could be.
cover.
Very well could be.
It's having the savings for 2028.
After we buy this truck, there'll still be a balance.
Of,
And there will be subsequent budget committees that will meet
Appropriations next
every
year.
year can look at that number and see if we need to. You know, those fools last year to cut it down, we better build it back up again, you know, just, yeah.
So what's it at, 28.5, is that?
27.5 was the.
28.5.
27.5 was the.
28.
28.8.
Was it 28.5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 28.
Hang on a minute. Okay. Maybe I get a brass plaque up there too, okay. Any other questions or concerns on this item? Hearing then, all in favor of the motion for $28,500. And opposed? Two. Okay. And the article passes at 28.5.
I think it's nearly,
Highway equipment. Town manager, you proposed 30,000, the board of selectmen have proposed 30,000. Take a motion,
I moved 30,000.
motion moves 30,000, I'll second that.
I second that.
I beat you, I got one, I
You've
got
already
one,
got
I'm allowed that.
Okay.
Questions or discussions, I know we've gone over this, but it's okay.
Are you talking, Andy? Replacing equipment or upgrading equipment? What is, or is this just a reserve to replace equipment?
This reserve account is to afford us to be able to either purchase new, something we don't have currently, or to replace the things we want to continue to have in service now going forward. Just the general equipment.
So on the I want, what's the I want?
So,
I say you have an I want, what is the I want that you, out of your reserve that you're looking at? You said
Is
you were
this
talking about.
The
future
grapple
down the
bucket
road.
and the billy goat?
Yeah,
I don't have an I want other than, this is the list of equipment we currently have.
Page 14.
And so just saying, if there was an I want inferred in that, it was, I guess, perhaps that. This list doesn't, we're not obligated, the select board can use this reserve account to buy equipment, period. So I think your question, I heard you say was, is it only to replace what we have or to buy things that are beyond essentially what we have in stock now, so it could be for either. If we find that there's a need for something that we don't currently own and want to get an attachment that would be useful for us, you know, sit a bar on the back of a machine to do our own roadside mowing, for example, you know, we could look at doing that. So it's not limited to just replacing the current equipment in service now.
Well, but you do have
Also-
3 items that you put amounts next to.
Yeah, 2 of them, the WL 32, the top there, the 18,400, and then towards the bottom, the 2024 1025, are the sidewalk factor there.
14.
what page are we on?
14 and 50, I'm looking off.
Because I can't keep playing it.
Yeah, we didn't.
I've looked at all these, I don't know where they're at.
Yeah, it's page 14. Yeah.
Two of those there that I just mentioned are, lease to own options. And so those are payments that we have to make for next year. And so the 30,000 basically maintains the balance, in the fund balance, to afford those payments. Those were 0% interest, and so the board thought that instead of paying for it all at once and driving down the balance in there, that we would just continue to proceed with funding levels at 0% interest on those pieces of equipment. They were on for replacement as it was, at least the WL 32. We didn't really have a replacement for it. That was out of service. So that John Deere tractor allows us to run two machines at once and actually does pretty well now.
Questions, concerns? And
So there's $30,000 in the reserve account already right now.
35 and
35.
any further questions and concerns? So some people pouring over numbers I don't want to rush through.
Just a minute.
I give you $65,000 in reserve.
No.
Without any expenditures, correct, but we've got $28,000, $29,200 actually in change that will be paid next year for the two pieces of equipment that we have at least to own on.
I would assume you'll come back next year though, also for a reserve.
Yep, every year I've got it projected out there what the subsequent year would be for reserve balances.
Yeah, on
30,000
page
-ish.
14, you'll see every year what the anticipated
Yeah.
request is going to be.
I make a point that what we're really talking about is what is the value of having a reserve approach to municipal budgeting. It's a rational thing to do. And if we start nickel and diming the reserves to save money, it may be robbing Peter to pay Paul, because we'll wind up having to pay more in future tax years at higher rates. Or the cost of a truck a year and a half from now be significantly greater than it is 6 months from now. So I'm not sure, this has already been thoroughly workshopped by the departments, the budget committee, the board of selectmen, and the town manager. So I'm not sure we're accomplishing much by taking 1,000 or 2 or even 5 at any one of these items.
That's the same principle as the workshopping part I see is the operating budget, though. They've also been thoroughly vetted by the departments, by me, by the select board, by the time it comes here.
Right.
So it's, in that regard, it's the same. On the principle of, do you want to build up a reserve for a future known payment?
Yeah.
To avoid a potential interest payment, on a future bond. Now, this one's not as obvious, but the next two, if we talk about them tonight, paving and sidewalks, that is exactly the point. Underfunding some of these accounts, those in particular, have led us to not really a good option other than bonding some things, if we're gonna keep them in good order. But for this one.
Wait, I kind of agree with what he says, but on the other side of the coin, we have to listen to our taxpayers that are bitching constantly about how high our taxes are going. Continuously 9, 10, 12, 15% increases year after year. So if you sit here and say, well, we didn't do anything, we just rubber stamped everything, what does that accomplish?
Well, I think to his point, if I can provide you this 10-year outlook of known anticipated expenses. Now, the numbers hopefully are less, honestly. But for me, looking out that far, how the heck do you know? I think I assumed a 3% year over year from the most recent year we think it's gonna be.
I commend you, Andy, for doing that.
So, but I mean,
I appreciate it.
But to do that and to then have that running balance is the point, so that we have had big increases to try and catch up, as I see it, from underfunding and, we have to lower the impact, let's take it from capital. And so this whole point I'm trying to put forward is to try and get us to a point where it is more manageable and that we aren't having to see or raise the question, do we fund it now? Do we take the bond later? But trying to get to the point, and there is a plateau in the forecast, but we're working from so far behind.
There's also the other side of the coin, you can't do it all at one jump, or we've had some really steep increases the last 3 years. And what's the sustainable number?
Right.
People are already screaming about they can't afford to live in their houses. And so do we put $5,000 more in reserve? So somebody has to move out of their house? Hey, you know, I've lived here a long time. I don't want to tell anybody that.
I guess I
So-
feel that it's an issue that's best addressed by going to Augusta and getting the solution.
Well, it is, but we're a budget committee, so we're sitting around the table here talking about these things, what is sustainable and what isn't. And 10 and 12% increases in our budget every year is not sustainable for the working man in Damariscotta.
Apropos Bruce's comment, I want to refer us to page 28 of 50. And then,
Of which budget?
28 to 50 is the last page of the capital budget.
Andy,
Oh, sorry, not the last page, but of those long foldouts.
right, could you remind me what CIP stands for?
The capital improvement plan forecast.
Okay, yeah, if you look at that graph at the bottom, 10-year CIP forecast. Look at 28, 29. Oh, yeah,
No, that's good.
we're already in trouble. We're underfunded, right?
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to pay for that. At some point. So this goes to Bruce's comment. But at some, you know, and Larry, I totally agree with you, because I personally, you know, I'm in shock when my real estate tax bill goes up 16%, but we're gonna have to pay for that shortfall at some point.
I agree with you, Connie. I'm shocked too. But I'm also listening to people say, I just don't have the money to
Right.
pay these taxes. There's a difference between being shocked and being able to pay it, and shocked and not being able to pay it.
So how?
And that's what I fear, that the young people and people that are on fixed incomes that have lived here all their life, I being one of them, can't afford.
Yeah,
And we may be underfunded, but I can remember when we didn't have a town truck, or we didn't even have a town police department. And Damariscotta wasn't a bad place to live then either.
But what are we gonna do about FY 28, 29, 30, 31, 32?
It's just problem, I guess.
It's next year's problem, so kicking the can down the road.
I mean, some of that you're not gonna, I mean, the only
We're not-
way to do that, we take a bond out to do your road work.
Uh,
That's the ones that are the most substantially underfunded right now, are your road and sidewalks. And so where there's places where there's new sidewalks proposed, like the grants are say more likely, but you're eligible for those. You're not gonna be eligible to get grants to replace existing sidewalks, so you're gonna have to pay to have those done. Not unless you can widen them or incorporate multi-use, which most of our town sidewalks aren't gonna incorporate well with. So it's not likely, so. If you're gonna have to take a bond out, I mean, the roads will just stick to that one. That one is, everyone driving around knows the status of the road. This year's particularly worse, given the frost we've had, but, $200,000 isn't gonna go very far in one
Before we
year.
move on to the other ones, can we finish this one?
But this doesn't apply.
Are you moving the $30,000?
No, I thought we were.
Yeah, we were discussing the 30,000.
That's the
Right.
motion on the floor.
That's for the highway equipment.
Some of the.
I move we vote on that.
Okay, so we have a motion for $30,000. All in
Second.
favor?
Yeah.
No, we already got it. I just need a vote. Alright, okay, and opposed. To, alright, and motion passes.
Jerry, which was she?
Yes.
Okay.
I voted for.
Sorry, what's that?
You voted in favor.
I voted in favor. Sometimes it just takes me a little bit longer to click the lower hand.
Okay, alright,
So
thank you.
maybe we could talk about the next two items, and then I think we've done enough for tonight.
Yeah, no, and that is, yeah, I agree.
Sidewalk and paving.
So sidewalk,
Let people trip.
town manager recommended $100,000, the selectmen have recommended the same number.
I move.
I move that I move we end this meeting and we put those as the first ones on our next meeting.
Is there a second to that motion to
Karen seconded it.
Karen.
adjourn at this point and move on?
Karen seconded it.
Okay, Karen seconded.
So we're not gonna deal with that tomorrow.
Well, let's see, there's a motion here to adjourn at this point and move on. We do have 2 more meetings.
Before we vote on that, Andy, is there anything going on? We're supposed to meet next Monday night, right?
Yes.
Is there anything going on afterwards? Okay.
No, we're here to,
Like planning board, you mean, right?
No.
Yeah, you're scheduled to meet the next 2 Mondays and there's no other meetings that are forced you have.
Okay.
yeah, I keeping in mind it's winter, but yeah.
Actually,
No, it's
supposed to
not.
be snowing.
Some- It's spring
I'll
now.
zoom in.
But so,
We can't
so
hear.
I have a motion. So that is a motion to adjourn,
Yeah.
yes?
Yep.
All right, so all in favor of the motion to adjourn?
That would be
Not a lot of argument.
You want to keep going?
We're supposed to keep going.
They're supposed to have snow on Concord
Thank you all.
and Sunday.
It won't last long.
Yeah, that's
It'll
been,
help by
it's been
Monday.
a productive evening, I think, so.
It'll help Monday.
We're done with Hunter.
Yeah.
We done?
Nice seeing you.
Bye.
Hi.
It was